Welcome to this explainer. I am so thrilled you're here. If you're joining us today, you probably already know just how profound a really great yoga practice can be for your life. So today, we're going to invite you into our studio, virtually anyway. We're diving into the core teaching philosophy that drives literally everything we do here at Pratimoksha, Dubai's premier yoga studio. We're going to slow things right down, take a nice, deep, grounded breath together, and explore the secret ingredient that transforms a standard everyday yoga class into an unforgettable, deeply personal experience.
But first, I want you to genuinely think about something for a second. What do you actually remember about your absolute favorite yoga teacher? Honestly, if I asked you right now to walk me through their class in detail, sequence by sequence, posture by posture, you probably couldn't do it. Almost nobody can. But if I ask what you remember about them, I bet the answer pops into your head instantly, right? It's a specific sentence they said, or maybe a moment they adjusted your posture just a little bit differently than everyone else in the room, or even the exact way they closed the class. Now that gap, that's not a failure of your memory. Actually, in our experience, that's exactly how the human mind is designed to work. Okay, let's dive into this because the science behind it is absolutely fascinating. It's a phenomenon known as the peak end rule. This comes from a foundational 1993 behavioral psychology study by Daniel Kahneman and Barbara Fredrickson. Essentially, they found that we humans just don't remember an experience as some accurate mathematical average of every single thing that happened. Nope. Instead, we remember the most intense moment, the peak, and the way the whole thing ended. Everything else in between just kind of blurs into a general impression. And you know what? This psychological principle perfectly validates what we have observed and actively practiced in our Dubai studios for years.
So, how does this actually play out on the mat? Well, it usually comes down to a sharp contrast between what we call the forgotten middle and the memorable moments. Look, a teacher can spend real meticulous care building a technically flawless 60-minute class, but a student walking out of our studio in Al Wasal, they're going to remember almost none of the structural logic behind it. Now, don't get me wrong, that sequence is the scaffolding. It's absolutely crucial. Good structure is what makes a class function and keeps everyone physically safe. But technical excellence alone, especially without a memorable peak or if it has a rushed ending, it just fades. What earns a student's loyalty, what they actually carry home with them are those personal, emotional moments and exactly how that practice wrapped up.
Which brings us to finding the true peak in your practice. When we hear the word peak in a yoga context, it's super tempting to picture some complex, highly athletic pose, right? The crazy headstand, the super deep back bend, the dramatic climax of a physical sequence. But at Pratimoksha, we know the true peak is almost never a theatrical pose. It literally has nothing to do with performative charisma. So, what actually creates a peak moment for our students?
Well, as our founder, Lalitha Viswanath, always teaches, creating this peak requires one completely essential ingredient: sustained, personal attention. The real peaks, they're those quiet, non-embarrassing physical corrections. It's a teacher noticing that you're favoring one side and gently pointing it out, just to you. It's that perfectly timed cue that magically reframes a pose you've struggled with for months, delivered right when you need it most. Or maybe it's just a brief, specific comment after class that proves your teacher was actually watching you, not just reciting instructions to a room full of bodies. Students across Dubai tell us the exact same thing. The class they remember is the one where they felt genuinely seen.
Now, let's just take a collective deep breath here and deliberately slow our pacing down, because the end matters just as much as the peak. Honestly, maybe even more. Think about the all-too-common rushed savasana. We have all been there. The teacher's eyes are darting to the clock, they give a generic sign-off, and there's this hurried turnover because, well, the next group needs the room. That underlying stress instantly erases all the deep goodwill you just spent 50 minutes building. We absolutely refuse to operate that way. Compare that to the Pratimoksha savasana. Real stillness, genuine closing words, held completely without anxiety about the clock. We cultivate a deep, resonant calm, allowing your practice to truly and properly integrate. And at Pratimoksha, we make that resonant calm happen day in and day out through some very practical, consistent patterns. Our teachers actually use these specific steps to ensure the end of class leaves a lasting, positive memory. Step 1, we hold savasana long enough that you actually settle. We're not just announcing it and rushing you back up. Step 2, we offer a specific, unique closing comment for that exact day's class. No robotic, recycled stock phrases here.
And step 3, we make individual eye contact or share a brief word as you depart, rather than shouting a generalized group goodbye to the whole room. We purposefully avoid any hurried tone in those final minutes, even if the studio schedule is genuinely tight.
19. That number is incredibly special to us. It represents the over 19 years of teaching experience that Lalitha Viswanath brings to our community here in Dubai. And what's truly amazing about this, Lalitha has been instinctively applying this profound understanding of human memory and authentic connection way before behavioral psychology ever became a buzzword in wellness spaces. Her approach is literally the bedrock of our studio. When you listen to our clients, they rarely describe a specific physical flow. Instead, they describe the closing minutes of her classes and the individual attention they received as the exact reason they keep coming back year after year.
And we definitely don't just keep this philosophy to ourselves. We actively pass it on. For anyone training to teach yoga, this is a concept you want to internalize early. So often, new teachers spend enormous energy perfecting their sequences and anatomy cues, but comparatively little time thinking about how they actually close a class. At Pratimoksha, our teacher training programs treat the ending of a class as a vital, highly specialized skill in its own right. It's a huge focus for us. It is never just an afterthought once the real physical teaching is done. We teach our trainees that you absolutely cannot fake a meaningful ending. It requires genuine, unwavering presence.
So I want to leave you with a final, slightly provocative thought. What kind of experience do you want to build your practice around? Do you want a forgotten middle and a rushed exit? Or do you want to be genuinely seen with moments of real peak clarity and a deeply peaceful, totally unhurried end? If you're thinking about your own teaching journey, or if you're simply looking for a long-term studio home that honors this level of mindful personal attention, we warmly invite you to book a trial session with us at Pratimoksha. Come on in, roll out your mat, and feel this difference for yourself. Thank you so much for exploring this explainer with me today.